The Bodhi tree stretched its roots deep, weaving through the soil like veins of the earth. Light filtered through its dense canopy, casting shifting shadows onto the ground. Birds sang softly, their melodies blending into the rustling leaves. A faint breeze carried the fragrance of jasmine and aged wood. The morning air was crisp, filled with the scent of damp earth and fallen leaves. Buddha sat in serene repose, his figure unmoving, yet his presence radiated warmth. Disciples gathered around him, their eyes filled with quiet reverence. Each carried questions in their hearts, seeking wisdom beyond mere words. The silence between them was heavy, yet comforting, like a well-worn cloak. The mind, Buddha began, his voice steady, is like a restless ocean, waves rising with each thought and falling with each moment. His eyes half-lidded, reflecting the golden hues of morning, held the weight of unspoken truths. To attain clarity, one must quiet the waves within. A young disciple shifted, his brow furrowed in contemplation. Master, thoughts come unbidden, endlessly swirling. How does one still the mind? The breeze stirred, carrying distant echoes of prayer bells from the monastery beyond the hills. Buddha reached for a simple bowl of water, setting it gently on the earth. Observe, he instructed, his fingers barely brushing the rim. Ripples danced across the surface, tiny waves colliding and spreading outward. Watch patiently. Minutes passed. The water calmed, its surface smooth as polished glass. It reflected the sky above, clear and undisturbed. When one ceases to stir the water, it stills. So too must the mind, Buddha said, his voice a whisper against the breeze. The disciple nodded, his breath steadying, his thoughts beginning to settle. But Master, when life itself disrupts our peace, how does one remain still? His voice trembled with uncertainty, his eyes searching for assurance. Buddha closed his eyes briefly, as though listening to the rhythm of the wind. Life does not resist the flow of the river. It moves with it, adapting to each curve and obstacle. The disciple lowered his gaze, watching the water once more. So I must allow myself to flow, rather than fight against what comes? He hesitated, his hands folding over his knees. Buddha nodded, his expression unwavering. Resistance creates suffering. Acceptance cultivates peace. Do not grasp at the river. Let it pass through you. His words settled into the air, merging with the murmurs of the forest. An older disciple, a scholar well-versed in sacred texts, spoke next. Master, wisdom is vast, yet the mind remains bound by doubt. How does one learn without fear? His robes rustled as he leaned forward, seeking guidance deeper than mere knowledge. Buddha traced a simple line in the dust before him. A flame does not doubt its purpose. It burns, it illuminates, it warms. Doubt clouds the mind as smoke obscures light. His fingers stilled, the faint imprint left behind like a forgotten path. Truth remains even when hidden. Fear is only the passing shadow. How does one balance wisdom with caution? His voice carried the weight of inquiry, neither rushed nor hesitant. Buddha lifted his gaze toward the drifting clouds above. Through mindfulness, a flame guided by intention does not rage uncontrolled. It burns steadily, offering light without destruction. His words rippled through the space between them, settling gently. The scholar sighed, his tension easing like melting ice. Then I must tend to my thoughts as one tends a fire. Carefully, patiently, his voice softened, as if discovering a truth long hidden. Buddha's smile was faint, but present. Indeed, to nurture wisdom, one must neither starve nor overwhelm it. His fingers brushed the dust once more, smoothing away the lines. A poet among the disciples spoke next, his voice uncertain, yet eager. Master, I struggle to create. My words lack spirit, my thoughts entangled. How does one awaken true creativity? His hands trembled, clutching a small, worn notebook against his chest. Buddha picked up a dry leaf, holding it between his fingers. Creation is born from the meeting of two elements, like friction birthing fire, like wind shaping the river's course. The leaf fluttered as he released it, carried away by the breeze. The poet watched the leaf disappear into the air. So even struggle itself is part of creation? He blinked, eyes widening in realization. Buddha nodded, the light catching the contours of his face. Without challenge, growth remains stagnant. Creativity thrives in movement, in contrast, in depth. His voice held no judgment, only knowing. The poet breathed deeply, his grip loosening on his notebook. Then I must not fear difficulty, but welcome it as part of the process. His words carried newfound certainty. Buddha's silence was a confirmation, an affirmation beyond spoken language. The moment settled among them, as natural as the passing wind. The disciples sat quietly, absorbing his wisdom, their minds lighter, yet fuller. The Bodhi tree stood witness, its leaves whispering secrets of ages past, and so, beneath its branches, the teachings continued, flowing as effortlessly as the river beyond the hills. Another day, another lesson under the ancient Bodhi tree. The disciples gathered once more, their minds eager for wisdom. The air carried the scent of damp earth, mingled with the fragrance of wild jasmine. Sunlight filtered through the leaves, casting golden patterns on the ground. Buddha sat in stillness, his presence as steady as the mountains. His eyes reflected the quiet knowing of the universe. Creativity, he began, is a flame that must be nurtured, neither allowed to wither nor rage uncontrolled. His voice, calm yet commanding, resonated in the morning air. A young poet bowed his head, his hands trembling over a worn parchment. Master, my thoughts are tangled, my words refuse to flow. His voice carried both longing and frustration, caught between aspiration and doubt. Buddha picked up a dried leaf, brittle and crumbling at his touch. A fire needs kindling. Struggle is part of the process. He let the leaf fall, watching it drift before landing silently among the roots. The poet frowned, staring at the leaf with furrowed brows. But when my mind is clouded, my creativity fades. How do I clear it? His voice wavered, uncertain yet hopeful. Buddha reached for a small bowl, filling it with clear water. He swirled it gently, the movement sending ripples outward. Observe the water, he instructed, setting the bowl before them. When disturbed, it shifts and loses clarity. Let it settle. Minutes passed, and the ripples disappeared. The surface became smooth, reflecting the sky like a polished mirror. Stillness does not mean emptiness, Buddha explained. It allows clarity to emerge. His gaze rested on the poet, steady and unwavering. The poet exhaled deeply, lowering his head in thought. So when my mind is restless, I must wait, allow it to calm? His fingers traced the edge of his parchment, newfound understanding settling within him. Buddha nodded, his presence a beacon of assurance. Patience is the guardian of creativity. Do not force inspiration, let it come. His words flowed like water, shaping the space between them with quiet conviction. A sculptor among the disciples leaned forward, his expression intent. Master, sometimes creation feels effortless. Other times, it is a struggle. Why does it change? His hands bore calluses, proof of years spent shaping stone into form. Buddha lifted his gaze toward the drifting clouds. The river does not resist its path. It moves, bends, adapts. His voice held neither urgency nor hesitation, only knowing. Creativity is like the river, changing with the tides of thought. The sculptor nodded slowly, absorbing each word. Then I should not fight difficulty but embrace it as part of the journey? His voice carried the weight of realization, like the chisel shaping marble. Buddha smiled faintly, his expression serene. Struggle is the sculptor of wisdom. Every hardship refines, every challenge deepens understanding. His presence was unwavering, like the ancient tree sheltering them. A musician spoke next, his voice smooth as flowing water. Master, music is my devotion, yet sometimes I fear I have lost my gift. His hands rested upon a wooden flute, worn by years of melody. Buddha picked up a single feather, holding it between his fingers. The wind carries the bird, just as devotion carries the artist. He released the feather, watching it drift before landing soundlessly. The musician's fingers tightened around his flute, but doubt weakens my confidence. How do I silence it? His voice carried the echoes of unspoken fears. Buddha turned to the river beyond the clearing. The water does not ask whether it can flow. It simply moves. His voice was gentle, yet firm, carrying the certainty of ages. Do not question your gift. Let it be. The musician breathed deeply, his grip loosening. Then my music must flow. Without resistance? His words were softer, carrying new strength. Buddha nodded, his presence steady as the passing wind. When you cease to doubt, creativity unfolds. Trust in the rhythm of your heart. His voice settled into the air like the final note of a song. The disciples sat quietly, absorbing his wisdom. The Bodhi tree stood witness, its leaves whispering the secrets of time. And so, another lesson wove its way into their souls. Like the river flowing endlessly through the land. Another day, another lesson beneath the Bodhi tree. The disciples gathered once more, eager to listen and reflect upon new wisdom. The morning sun painted golden streaks across the sky, illuminating the soft mist rising from the earth. The air carried the scent of dewdrops, mingling with distant echoes of temple bells. Buddha sat in quiet repose, his presence filling the space like an unmoving river. His eyes rested upon the gathered disciples. Life does not resist the river, he said, his voice steady as the passing wind. It flows effortlessly, adapting to each bend and obstacle. A painter among the disciples spoke next. Master, how do we create without resistance? The mind fights itself, doubting, fearing, hesitating. His fingers traced the rough surface of a blank canvas by his side. Buddha gestured toward the river beyond the clearing. Stand in its current, he instructed, his tone calm yet expectant. The painter stepped forward, feeling the water rush around his legs. Steady yet shifting. Now, Buddha continued, try to hold the river still. The painter cupped his hands, attempting to grasp the moving waters. They slipped through his fingers, undeterred, moving as they always had. You cannot force the flow, Buddha explained. You must surrender to it. Creativity, wisdom, even enlightenment, they arise when we cease struggling. His voice merged with the murmurs of the trees, his presence unwavering. The painter lowered his hands, watching the water continue its path. So I must let my thoughts flow as the river does? His voice held newfound understanding. Touched by quiet reverence, Buddha nodded, his gaze reflecting endless depth. Resistance creates stagnation. Surrender allows movement. Let your art be the reflection of this truth. His words settled into the silence, carried by the breath of the forest. A poet knelt beside the painter, his hands trembling over his parchment. Master, inspiration comes and vanishes, unpredictable as the wind. How do I grasp it when it slips away? His voice carried longing, weighed by doubt. Buddha reached for a single feather, holding it between his fingers. The wind does not cling to the bird, it carries it. He released the feather, watching it drift before landing softly among the roots. The poet watched, his breath slowing. So inspiration must not be pursued, but allowed to come naturally? His fingers relaxed against the worn parchment. Buddha nodded, his expression a quiet affirmation. When you release the need to control, inspiration will find you effortlessly. His voice was steady, echoing through the clearing. A musician among them lifted his flute, its wood polished by years of devotion. Master, sometimes I play with ease. Other times my melodies falter. Why does creativity shift? His voice carried echoes of unspoken uncertainty. Buddha turned his gaze to the drifting clouds above. The river does not remain unchanged. It bends, swells, recedes, follows the seasons. His presence held the depth of knowing beyond words. The musician ran his fingers over the flute's surface. Then my music, too, must be allowed to change. Without resistance? His voice was softer, carrying new certainty. Buddha offered a gentle smile, like sunlight breaking through passing clouds. When you cease to resist, creativity unfolds. Trust in the rhythm of change. His words drifted into the silence, settling in the hearts of his disciples. They sat quietly, absorbing his wisdom, their minds lighter, yet fuller. The Bodhi tree stood witness, its leaves whispering the secrets of ages past. And so, beneath its branches, the teachings continued, flowing as effortlessly as the river beyond the hills. Thank you for watching. Buddha's teachings are always with you. Subscribe to our channel and we will see you in the next video.